wanna be you.
Welcome back to Giggles and Gains. I just ummed again. I said I wasn't going to So, we're officially in the top 10% of podcasts because we've made it to episode 5. That is how I'm basing my success on whether we do a good job or not. And I have got my next guest. I'm going to do like quite a big announcement because this person is now a massively influential part of Katie Coaching. I am super excited to announce that Sian is the latest coach for Katie Coaching, and she has been working behind the scenes for the last 5 or 6 weeks probably.
About that. Yeah.
For the last 5 or 6 weeks with me. We've been going through a training process, and I'm really, really excited to have her on board, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about her journey. One of the main reasons that I invited her on the podcast today is because Sian is one of the millions of people who ran a marathon last Sunday, and I thought it's a little bit different from what I normally speak about, which is powerlifting and bodybuilding. So I wanted to get Sian on. I wanted to chat through some of her experiences. You guys have asked us a lot of questions, and then we're going to talk a little bit about your experience as a client to now becoming a coach. Okay?
Yeah.
So, you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
I would like you to introduce yourself first.
Oh my god.
The pressure is on.
Yeah. So I'm Sian. I like running. And I'm now a marathoner and a coach. So yeah, I think that's pretty much about it really, isn't it?
How long have you been running for?
I've been running on and off, I'd say probably since I was about 14.
Really?
Yeah. I think I had a really big long break in from like early 20s to like mid 20s, and then like around COVID time, that's when I started really getting back into it again.
What made you start running originally? I'm going to ask some questions actually, because Graham said absolute admiration to you for running a marathon because he couldn't run a marathon without dying. But he said, why running? So why running, Sian? Why is that important to you?
I started running because when I was about to leave school, so when I was like 14, I wanted to join the army. So I had to do the 1.5 miles. So I was training, I would run around the village with my dad. I didn't even have like a pair of jogging bottoms. I literally used to run in a pair of jeans and like this tatty old pair of trainers. How I never got shin splints, how I never got injured. But it's like, now I've got all the stuff and I still get injured now. But yeah, that's literally what it was. I started because I wanted to join the army and I had to do a 1.5 mile run.
Wow. What spanned that then? What happened with the army? Did you do the test?
So I did all the tests. I got up to selection, but I didn't pass my medical for selection. With like bad back and mental health problems. So
really,
yeah. So I stopped, and then I was like, right, okay, I'll go college instead. And then I was actually quite good at running at college. So I think it's just kind of stayed with me, and then until now, and I think I'm quite good now. So
you're quite good now. What made you get back into it more recently then? So you said obviously COVID was a turning point for you.
Yeah, so before COVID, I'd like really got back into it. I was starting to get a bit more into long distance, but always kind of struggled. I struggled a lot with shin splints for a long, long time, and I just could not get rid of them. I was like taking painkillers to be able to run. Do not recommend it at all. It's a bad idea. But
very addictive.
Yeah. So I had to then take a long break because of the shin splints, because it was just too painful to run and they weren't healing. And then I ended up, obviously, COVID happened, and it was like, oh, well, I need to obviously take my dog out. We were only allowed out for an hour a day. I should have just not listened and just ran and took the dog out. But hey ho, we all had to be good and whatever. And it was a scary time. So then I started to really get back into it. I think I did like a running challenge for the Samaritans, which is now why whenever I do one of these like running challenge, it's always for the Samaritans, because it holds a real special place in my heart. And then from there, so I did this marathon, which is like a marathon over the course of a month, and I found it so hard. So now the fact that now I can run a marathon in one go, I'm like mind blown. But it's going back from there. Yeah, I've just kind of kept up with it. And
Why does the Samaritans hold a special place in your heart?
I have struggled greatly with my mental health for years now. So it's just always I've never used the Samaritans, but I know what vital services they provide, and I just feel like it's just a really it resonates with me. It's a thing that
It's special to you.
it is, yeah.
Yeah. What has running done for your mental health?
Saved my life.
Tell me more.
Yeah, I think without it I probably wouldn't be here.
Really?
Yeah, it's therapy to me. It really, like, I can go out and I can just pound the pavements and I just go into like this almost like meditative state because I can
Flow state.
Yeah, I just forget everything that I'm feeling, and then my endorphins come in, and then I'm okay. Like, life's not so bad. Like, I've got some of my best PBs and like in my most depressed states of my life. So
Yeah. Tell anybody who hasn't ever experienced an endorphin buzz, because obviously you get them from training. I went out on the bike yesterday and I was like, when I got back, I went out for a walk with my partner's daughter and I was like, I couldn't stop talking. Axel. What is the runner's high?
oh, it's like you float. It's just like
It's such a good time.
No, it really, really is. Like that, I don't think there's anything that can compare. Like it's like you're just floating. Like it's bizarre. Like it, yeah. I think unless it's hard to explain unless you've experienced it.
What does it feel like to you? And what do you understand it to be?
It feels like peace, achievement. Like I've gone out and I've done something. I've not gone, and I think we kind of all deal with stress very differently. But I feel like I'd much rather go and run for half an hour, 40 minutes, than open a bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Because the outcome is so much better from running than what it is getting drunk. Like,
it's making a decision that impacts your future self. So for example, like we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, where I was like the wine for me, I really enjoy it, but actually it doesn't align with my goals. It doesn't impact my future self. It has a negative impact on that. But then like making a decision that actually aligns with that and supports your mental health and makes you feel better for tomorrow is a more powerful decision.
yeah.
So tell me about the marathon training and the moment you decided you were going to do a marathon. That is a double loaded question.
So I've wanted to do a marathon for quite a few years now, but obviously trying to get into the London Marathon is, well, rarer than hen's teeth. It is a nightmare trying to get into it. It's a nightmare trying to get a charity place, because I didn't want to just go and do any old charity. I wanted something that meant something to me, because it just felt a bit fake otherwise. So now I ended up doing the virtual marathon. Everyone was like, "You're mad. Why would you do a virtual marathon? Because it's just you on your own." And I was like, I know.
Tell everybody what the virtual marathon
so
was.
the virtual marathon is, so a lot of people thought I was just going to be like running on the spot in my living room. That's what my sister thought. Like, she was like, "What, are you just going to watch it on the telly and just jog on the spot?" I was like, no. Like, and people thought I was doing it on a treadmill. I was like, to be honest, I think a treadmill would be worse than what I'm doing. But so basically you choose your own route and you track it on the London Marathon app, and then that is it. You just do a virtual, and you've got 24 hours to do it, so you can do it as quickly or as long as you want. You can walk it, you can, yeah.
Bobby asked, what was your marathon training like and how long was it?
So I did, so the actual marathon block was 16 weeks, but I think I was mileage building from about October time, because I knew I needed to be able to withstand quite a high level of mileage. So I thought as long as I'm running like 30 miles a week in a lead up for quite a few weeks, I thought I knew that my body would be able to withstand the training. So yeah, 16 weeks, and I loved it up until I got injured. I think that was about halfway, wasn't it? And that was like peak training, and I remember saying to you, just as coming into taper, I was like, I will do so much differently in my next block. Like I've trained like completely solo on my own. I've not done a single run with anybody else, and I was like, I will never ever do that again, because it's been it's a lonely sport as it is. So don't make it lonelier.
Tell us about what happened with your injury.
So
Those bloody trainers.
Yes, I was an absolute idiot, and I didn't realise how many miles I'd run in my trainers. I thought that I hadn't bought them that long ago, but it turns out I'd bought them well over a year ago, and I'd obviously done probably about 600 miles in them, and they say about 400 is the absolute limit. And then I started getting niggles that were like just travelling around my body, and it was just a nightmare. But luckily, Bob, the osteopath, he put me on the straight and narrow. Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I don't think you're gonna get a sub 4, but you'll run a marathon. You'll definitely run a marathon, but you're just gonna hurt the next day." And I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm expecting that anyway." But 2 weeks out, he gave me like full all clear. He was like, "Just go, just
do it,
just send it. You'll be fine."
So quick one. What did you originally set yourself your time to run your marathon in?
So I did when we first started. I'd done a random 20-mile run in the pouring rain, completely untrained, and I was like, I think I did it in, was it like 3 hours 40 or something, just under. And I was like, I reckon I've got a 4:15 in me.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I can do this untrained, I think that I can do a 4:15. And then I started the training, and I started doing a sub 4 marathon plan because I couldn't find a sub 4:15. And then I started doing it, and I was like, I can hit these paces, and I can hold them. And I was like, I think I might go for sub 4. But the original plan was 4:15.
But I think it's important to have that moment where you do actually want to achieve more than you're capable of, because that's where your drive comes from, because then you get more competitive with yourself. All of my numbers that I want to lift, I turn up to my session with John and I'm like, right, we're tripling 80 kilo bench today. And he's like, we're not, Kate, we're tripling 75. And I'm like, but why? If I do 75 well, do I get to do 80? And originally he was like, he believed me and he wasn't getting my sarcasm, and now he gets it. It's so much more boring. But I think you have to have that drive, that ambition to like strive for more. And I said that to you. I was like, you need to be striving for 4. Like, strive for it, do it. Because if you get it, you'll be fucking buzzing.
I was so close as well.
If you don't get it, the next time when you do get it, it'll feel so good.
Yeah.
So what did you get?
4:07:22.
And that is mega.
For my first
with injuries, you did most of it on your own. That is huge. Absolutely huge. So let's talk about the highlights. What was the highlights of the training and the marathon?
The training, it feels like just such a blur now because it was such a long block. But I think just realising that I can push past some pretty big pain barriers that are like, and most of the time they're in your head. Obviously, when I was injured, that was out of the question, and it was like a kind of a fine line of, am I going to make it worse or can I run through this? And normally it took me 10 or 14 miles to work that out, but you'd be like, John, go home. I'm like, I'm just going to keep going, but it's so painful.
Like, no. Oh my God.
Like, why did it take you 10 miles to decide that? And I'm just like, I don't know. But yeah, I think the highlights were, definitely that I know that I can hold a pace faster than I ever could have imagined for the marathon. And
what do you think contributed to that?
Strength training.
Oh,
100%.
Tell me more.
100%, because I think obviously since starting with you, I've PB'd everything, haven't I?
My highlight of your marathon training, excuse me for stealing the show, was the moment when I did your consultation call and I said, you're going to run a sub 25 5K this year. And you went, okay, no, I'm not. And you giggled your way through. And I went, you will, trust me, you absolutely will. And you were like, no, I don't believe you. Like, it's not going to have that much of an impact. And did you?
Yeah.
How much by? It was like 34 seconds. No, it was a couple of minutes first.
I did my first, I think before I started with you, I was on 26 something. I can't remember. And then within a couple of months, I was sub 25 by a few seconds, only just under. And I think now I'm at 24:18 or 24:17.
So you've taken the best part of like 2.5 minutes off of your 5K pace through strength and conditioning training in what, 7 months. 7, 8 months.
Was it? Yeah. When was my newest 5k PB? It was like beginning of the year.
Yeah, it was
beginning
early.
of the block. Yeah.
Yeah, huge.
Mm.
And we're doing another one, just not today.
Yeah.
She tried today, just not today.
Not today.
Okay, so they are your highlights. What was the worst part of your training and the marathon?
Definitely getting injured.
Yeah.
That was tough because I'd had such high expectations of myself and my body that I thought that I could withstand the peak mileage of like 45, 50 miles a week. And it was just too much. It was, I think, had I've not had shit trainers essentially that were worn out. Yeah, so I think, like I said, there was so much, this block was a massive learning curve. I think for the marathon, there was at one point, I think it was like mile 16, and I remember texting into like I had no one with me. My dad had disappeared. Joe was nowhere to be found, and I remember texting into the family WhatsApp group like, where the fuck is everyone? I need some support. I'm really struggling. And then all of a sudden my dad turned up on the bike, and then that was it. And then he stayed with me then for the rest of it. But yeah, that point there was really, really hard. But then also it was quite funny when I think it was like maybe like mile 20, 21, like my brother meeting me at the top of Upton, and then he was like, we were coming down Upton Lane, it was downhill, and we'd got like onto like the flat a bit, and he was like, how are you holding this pace? It was like, I've only just started running and I'm absolutely blowing out of my arse. And I was just like, yes.
So strong.
I will take that.
What was going through your head during the marathon while you were running? That's what Bob asked.
This is going to sound so ridiculous, but literally nothing. Do you know what was going around in my head constantly? And this is when people were saying to me, how did you do it with no music? Because I had N-Dubs #1 on repeat in my head, just the same bit over and over again for 4 hours.
Was it? You're number one.
Yeah, something like that. And I was just like, oh my God, does it ever stop? I was like, it was just relentless. That was literally all I had in my head. Like,
oh my goodness.
I don't really think of anything when I'm running. I just, like I said, I just go into that flow state and I'm just like, yeah,
enjoying the moment.
Yeah, just.
So what's next then? Like, Bob's like halves, maras, ultras. What are your future plans?
I would like to win ultra, but I don't like mud, and they're all like trails. I hate getting muddy. I like to keep my nice pink trainers nice and pink. So that's probably not really for me. Maybe in the future, but me and trail running we don't get on. I was looking at a 10k race in 4 weeks time, but I think I'm just going to concentrate on a lot of short distance. I want to PB my 5k, my 10k by quite a lot. I think I want sub 22 5k. I'd like sub 45 10k. I'm going to have to really dig deep for that one.
That's come down by 5 minutes in 3 days.
Yeah, I know. Now
we had a goals conversation on Tuesday, and she gave me her numbers, and both of those are now less.
Yeah.
She's going for it.
Big goals. And then,
I love it.
Well, no, because then next year, like, I want to, my next marathon, I'm hoping that I can get into London. If I can't get into London, I'm going to do Manchester.
Good.
I want to qualify for a good for age bib.
Good.
So I want to go, I need sub 340 to get a good for age bib. Not guaranteed, but.
Love it.
But yeah, big goals.
What is the biggest thing that you have taken away from your marathon training this year?
I think that I'm mentally stronger than what I think I am. Like, I can.
Your resilience.
Yeah, I can really dig deep when I need to, and I can push so much more than what I ever could do. Like, I'm always a bit like, I can't do that, I can't do that. And actually, no, I really can. And like, when people are like, like, so many people say to me, like, you shouldn't try for a time for your first marathon. You should just enjoy it. You should just, you can do this, but put half an hour onto what time you think you got. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna get it, like, because you don't know what I'm like up here. Like, I'm a stubborn little fucker, so if I want something, I'll get it. But I like that.
And you should be really, really proud of yourself. like hugely proud of yourself. Like you, and we'll talk about like where you were this time last year. Like you've overcome a significant injury. You've bounced back. You've made adjustments to your training. You've made adjustments to your lifestyle, your nutrition, your actual general habits, which we'll come on to shortly. You've ran a fucking marathon on your own. That takes huge resilience. And now you want to do another one, which is crazy. But anyway, tell me more about this time last year.
Oh, so this time last year, I think I just tore my quad, or did I? No, I tore my quad like at the end of May. But yeah, it was around about this time. I was trying to run. I was trying to do a bit of everything. I'd done one rounders group with this little group, and I was like, oh, this is really, really good fun. But then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really quick. So I'm sprinting everywhere, and then I'm like ducking and diving everywhere. And then I could feel like my quad niggling a little bit. And then, yeah, I think it was the next week, I fell into a ditch and tore it, which was excruciatingly painful, which then obviously put me out for only 6 weeks, which was really surprising. Yeah, so I was out for 6.
What was the rehab like for your quad? Because actually going through a quad tear, minor, major, significant, like you have to do rehab for that. Like you have to rest, you have to recover. What were the things that you were advised to do over that 6 weeks to help it heal as quickly as it did?
So there was no running, but the physio did say that because of the amount of steps that I do, I probably actually helped.
How many steps do you do, Sian?
I think I average at the minute about 20,000 a day.
That's
am I on
not
today?
even a lot.
23,000 at the minute for today.
23,000 steps a day. Anyway,
Yep.
Trying to get the girl to rest is impossible. And we have had conversations about overtraining. But anyway,
I did on Monday. I think I did 11,000 on Monday.
I'm so proud of you. Okay, so yeah, tell me more about the rehab. So the steps was a really positive thing that you did.
Yeah,
Why were they positive?
Because I kept on moving. Because I thought I was going to be on crutches. And they were like, no, we want you to keep moving. I mean, I drove to bloody Cornwall like 3 days later after doing it, and my friend was like, "You're gonna be okay, you're gonna be okay," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
It'll be all right." And then I literally like hobbled the whole way around Cornwall, like literally like dragging my leg behind me, like it was ridiculous. But yeah, it was just like basic exercises, step ups, Bulgarians, but like it was just real. I had to be really careful to make sure that I wasn't aggravating it. So it was it was all just quite standard like physio really.
But it was just being what's the right word? Really routine with it, doing it every day, making sure that you do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then I was just getting back into my running, and then I was like, I think I might have liked one of your stories or something, and then you were like, hey. And then we booked a call in, and then you were like, you're going to do sub 25 5K, and I was like, no, I'm not. I've just torn my quad, Katie. Are you mad? And then
here you are.
Here we are. That's his history.
What are the biggest things that you wanted to work on when we started working together?
So I'd obviously been on like a weight loss journey. I think I'd lost about a stone when I first started with you, and then I'd like plateaued. I just couldn't work out why. Like I was like running, and it was just wasn't. I knew I needed to implement the strength training to complement the running, because it was just I'm just going to keep getting injured if I didn't. So I'd already been on a weight loss journey. It was, I just felt a bit rubbish. I was like, I could like I quite like how I look, but it could just be better. My drinking was out of control as well, I would say. Yeah, that was like a big thing. My drinking was, and I never saw it as a problem. I think until quite recently, actually, I would say that now I've realised actually, like what we was just saying, it just doesn't align with my goals. I don't want to go out on a Friday night, get absolutely bladdered, and then have to do a long run on a Saturday, and then feel like absolute dog shit. So it was,
Totally. What are the main things that you've achieved this year? Obviously the marathon's a massive thing, but what else have you achieved through working together?
I've PB'd all distances. Obviously, I was always going to PB marathon because that was my first one. But PB 10K, PB half, 5. I think the weights had to kind of take a little bit of a back step, obviously, once the injury happened. And also just energy saving, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I was just knackered, wasn't I? I couldn't keep up with the intensity of trying to do 3 gym sessions a week, and then even just trying to do 2, it was just too much. So it was, yeah.
She got there.
Yeah.
I remember when we were looking at doing your first training block for the marathon on week 1, and it said like 4 runs, 3 gym sessions, 2 cross training sessions, and I was like, Sian, I said, you can't be doing all this. I'm like, rest and recovery. Tell me, I think that's quite an integral part of our relationship though. So Sian and I have always had a relationship where you like to share like your training program because she likes to do her running programming. I do the strength and conditioning side of it. And actually that's a really integral part of our relationship because it's not a dictatorship. It's very much like we will have a catch up, we'll talk about both sides of the thing, and then we'll make sure that the programming all aligns. And how has that benefited you? Because it's benefited you in 2 ways that I can think of. What are your thoughts?
The
first one that springs to mind is obviously that cross trainer moment, and the second one is the periods.
Yes, yeah, because I get trolleyed, don't I, in my luteal phase. I just can't withstand the training, can I?
And I think that's massively to do with the fact that there might be a little bit of overtraining. And actually, the amount that Sian does, because she's doing 25 to 30,000 steps a day on some days.
Easily.
Yeah. And then it's that her body gets to like that luteal phase and you're battered. Yeah. Absolutely battered. So together we built a training program that allows for you to have a deload every 28 days, every 4 weeks, and that's really, really benefited you.
Yeah, massively. And I think as well, even with the marathon block, it happened that because there was a 4 weekly deload on the marathon block as well, which then coincided perfectly with my cycle every single time.
Yeah.
But I think there is like, it's 2 weeks. I can push for the 3rd, but it's that 4th week I am absolutely wrecked, and it's I can't push through. I can't lift anything. Running is an absolute chore. But yeah.
Tell me more about what made you apply for the coach position.
I think I'd just kind of come to, we had that chat, didn't we? And I'd come to a bit of a decision with my own business that I was a bit burnt out with it. As much as I love it, it just doesn't bring me as much joy as it used to. And I kind of wanted to just do it more as a hobby now, as opposed to as my full-time job. And then you were like, well, I need a coach. So I was like, oh, okay, do you think I could do that? But I have toyed with the idea for a while of coaching people like for running, but it's just kind of just getting started up with it, isn't it? It's expensive, it's time consuming, and yeah.
What do you think you're going to bring to the role? It's like you're into again, isn't
I know. Oh God, what am I going to bring to the role? I think our personalities are quite similar. We're quite
direct.
Yeah, we're direct, but we're quite like big personalities as well. But I think we complement each other quite well. I'm at
You're at a loss?
Yeah, I'm at a loss.
Let me tell you what Sian's going to bring. Sian's going to bring all of the energy. She is going to bring her knowledge in running. The fact that Sian is a sponge. I will tell Sian something or suggest something to her, and she literally sucks it up like a sponge and then relays it. She's a real inspiration, not just to me, but to other people within our community. And I could not be more proud to work with somebody who is as inspiring as you and your values. Make me cry. Oh God, she's still her emotional week. But yeah, is there anything you want to finish on?
I don't think so.
No.
That's my first podcast.
It's your first podcast. Yeah. One of many, I'm sure.
Yes.
Thank you so much for listening. Save, subscribe, share. I'm going to do that bit at the end now. Like, help us grow the podcast. No, help us reach more people. Like, I've talked about this before. Like, Sian's going to be a real integral part of Katie coaching and the business. And I want to share so many different experiences with my friends, with you guys as I can, because they are really inspiring people. And if we can just influence and help just one person to inspire them to do something differently or to make a decision that aligns with their goals, then we are winning. Have an epic day.